Hey, good morning. Happy Monday, folks. Hope you are having a fantastic day today. Today, we're going to go over how to create an 8-figure portfolio. And I'm going to give you guys a couple of different ideas on how to do this. But the thing that I want to really start off with, so stick with me here for a minute. If you're serious about wanting a 7-figure portfolio, and an 8-figure cryptocurrency portfolio feels like it's out of reach, then don't go anywhere. By the end of this video, not only am I going to have you believing that you can have an 8-figure cryptocurrency portfolio, but I'm going to go over some very sound strategies and tactics and specific ways that you can make that happen. So good morning. Happy Monday. I hope you guys are all doing fantastic. The first thing that I want to share with you guys about having an 8-figure portfolio is if you don't think it's possible, it's absolutely never going to happen. And even if it did miraculously happen somehow, you got lucky and invested in a Shiba Inu, at the right moment, and you had some kind of an explosion where you turned a few $1,000s into 10 million, I can guarantee you that you would figure out a way to come back down to earth and to sabotage your success. And so the first thing that I'm going to talk about, and this drives me crazy when I'm watching other people, so I just want to give you guys a heads up. So I listened to another gentleman named Myron Golden, and he will literally have an hour-long video, and he will talk about some of the things that I'm going to talk about for the first 50 minutes of the video. Not 15, 50. He'll talk for 60 minutes, and the first 50 minutes will be talking about some of the stuff that I'm going to talk about. And then in the last 10 minutes, he gives you the strategies. And I've sat through a lot of his videos and others. And after about 10, 15 minutes, I'm like, will you please shut up and just tell me what to do? I'm convinced. Please just tell me what to do. Please just start with the strategies, Brad. Please just tell me the strategies. I don't care about all this other stuff that you're going to talk about, but I'm here to tell you that all of that other stuff is the most important. The strategies come easy when the mindset is in the right place. And that's why this is called Crypto Monday Mindset Mastery. Guys, I've learned in my almost 52 years, 2 days. Today is Monday, July 28th. On Wednesday, July 30th, I get to celebrate my birthday with all of you on the Microcap Gem live streams. But I've learned in my 52 years that when you get this right, everything else will fall into place more rapidly than you might ever believe is possible. And if you don't have this right, either you're going to struggle through life forever, or even if you do get some success, it's going to be short-lived. It's going to be temporary. So if you're writing things down today, if you've got a pen and paper, the first thing that I want you to take note of is the first thing we got to do is we got to raise our identity. If I look like I'm looking down, I am, because I've got some notes today. I didn't want to screw this up. This was an important message that I wanted to give you guys today. So how to create an 8-figure portfolio. Number one, you have to raise your identity. Folks, you're never going to out-earn your identity. And if by some miraculous some miracle, you do out-earn your identity and make a bunch of money more than you believe you are worth, folks, you will sabotage yourself. And you all see this all day long in your life. And maybe it happened with you. It happens in a lot of different areas. I think health and fitness is one of the areas that it's the easiest to explain, where you can see it. Money too. But how many of you have, like myself, have either done it yourself or have watched people that you love that are out of weight and you're overweight and maybe out of shape, that have lost 30 or 40 or 50 pounds and really started to look incredible. They were working out, they were exercising on a regular basis, they were watching their food. And then after that 3, 4, 5, 6 month period of time where they lost all of this weight and they were feeling great, you watched them or you experienced it yourself where you gained it all back. I jokingly tell people sometimes I've probably lost 300 pounds or more in my life because I've lost 30 pounds about 10 different times, lost 30 pounds and gained it back. And so the reason that I give this example is because it's important for you to understand this. If you're not aware, it's going to just feel like life. You're going to feel like a victim. But I'm here to tell you, if you know that it's coming ahead of time, hopefully you can save yourself some of this yo-yo misery. Now, the reason that people, including myself, the reason that we were able to lose that weight is over a short period of time, we were able to make some massive changes in our life and do something that was totally new. But we actually never became that person. We actually never became the athlete. We never really decided, oh, come on, dog. We never really decided that this was the new us. And the reason, I guess, another way to explain it is I read in a book once that people that quit smoking, if you say to yourself or to others, yeah, I'm a smoker, but I'm trying to quit. The difference between saying I'm a smoker and I'm trying to quit and saying I am no longer a smoker. I used to smoke, but I am no longer a smoker. That's a massive, massive little teeny shift in your mindset. A smoker that is trying to quit still views themselves as a smoker. And most of the time, they are going to go back to smoking because they're a smoker. So if you're a smoker, you're going to smoke. If you believe that you're a smoker, you might temporarily quit. You might have enough willpower to quit for a little while. But eventually, if you believe you're a smoker, you're going to go back to smoking. If you believe you're a non-smoker, if you used to be a smoker, but you're no longer a smoker, you have a much higher chance of not quitting because you identify as a non-smoker. Well, it's the same thing in weight loss. If you identify yourself as an athlete and you start to tell yourself that I am an athlete and you start to decide how to live your life based on what would an athlete do. I'm out to dinner with my friends and it's my birthday. What would an athlete do? Like what would a top-notch athlete do tonight? Oh, okay. Even though it's their birthday, they would probably still eat relatively clean. They might splurge a little bit, but they're not going to go crazy and have 6 different desserts and just go totally off the rails because they're an athlete. And so athletes eat like athletes. They eat, chicken and fish and steak and protein and broccoli and vegetables and fruit. Athletes, for the most part, don't have a ton of cookies and donuts and ice cream and stuff. And my point is, if you're an overweight, out of shape person that is working at not being that, but that's still how you identify yourself, that's why you yo-yo. So if you've ever had that experience where, maybe you only need to lose 5 or 10 or 15 pounds, or maybe you've lost that 10 or 15 pounds multiple times in your life. If you're like me, I show a social media post where I was 305 pounds. I'm down to around 250 now, but at 305 pounds, I yo-yoed from 305 down to 350, back to 280 multiple times. I've yo-yoed from 250, 260 down to like 225, 230 multiple times. And one of the things that I realized is that I just hadn't identified myself. I hadn't got myself into the mindset of I am an athlete now. I am no longer this other person that I used to be, and that I am an athlete now. Give me 1 second here, guys. Hey, get down. Go. I look over, my dog is up on top of a table chewing something, making a crazy amount of noise. He's sitting up on top of a table that he knows he's not supposed to be on. These dogs are crazy. So I know I'm harping on this point, guys, but financially, I want to give you guys the last example financially. Some of you have maybe experienced this and some of you haven't. But what you believe you are worth financially, you will never out-earn longer than on a short temporary basis. So yes, you can get lucky in crypto, but if you really believe that you, like, you know, for whatever reason, maybe you didn't finish high school and you've been taught your whole life that, hey, high paying careers are reserved for those people that, you know, went to college and got degrees. And I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a doctor. So, you know, man, I'm pretty happy that I've got a position where I'm making, you know, 20, 25, 30 bucks an hour. And so you view yourself, you know what, at $30 an hour times 2,000 hours. If you're figuring full-time work for, you know, 50 weeks of the year for 40 hours, it'd be 2,000 hours times 30 is 60 grand. So you feel like you are worth $60,000 a year. And all of a sudden, crypto takes off and you make several $100,000 in a year with cryptocurrency. If you don't believe you're worthy of it, you are going to figure out ways to waste it, squander it, buy it on meaningless, you know, spend it on meaningless things, buy, you know, doodads. You're going to have cars, you're going to create more bills. And at the end of that yo-yo, at least with weight, when you lose the weight and gain the weight, you just have the weight. You normally don't, you're not any worse off in a sense than you would have been if you hadn't ever lost the weight. If you go from 250 to 220 back to 250, you're not probably worse off than you were if you'd have just stayed at 250. But the funny thing about money, folks, is when you go from 50, 60,000 a year to all of a sudden having multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then you manage to squander that and waste it, normally you are worse off because you've managed to figure out ways to increase your lifestyle, but you did it on credit. Like, yeah, you went out and got a car, but you didn't just go pay cash for it. Maybe you put a decent down payment on it, but you went from a $500 or $600 a month car payment to $1,000 a month car payment. Maybe you went out and you upgraded your home. And there's nothing wrong with upgrading your home, but all of a sudden you went from a $1,500 mortgage to a $2,500 mortgage. And now when it comes crashing down and your finances settle back down and that 300, 400, 500,000 is gone and you're back to your $60,000 a year job, you're more stressed out and more miserable than ever, because at least previous to making all that money, you might have been living paycheck to paycheck, but you had it all figured out. Your rent was dialed in, your mortgage or, you know, your car payments, all that was dialed into where you could live comfortably off of what you had. But if you're not careful and you make a bunch of money, but you don't grow your identity to the person that believes that you are worthy of it, then it will get squandered. And folks, once again, it's going to be easy for you to blame it on everybody but yourself. Man, I had this incredible investment come my way, and I threw $100,000 at an investment. I've never thrown more than $1,000 or $2,000 at any cryptocurrency, but now I had $500,000 around, so I threw $100,000 at this incredible investment that my brother-in-law told me about, and it turns out that it was a scam. It was a Ponzi scheme, and poof, $100,000 gone. Man, my wife, she's been so patient. The last few years, I've been telling her, hey, babe, the world is, life is going to get better. I know that we're struggling financially. And now all of a sudden she knows I've got this $500,000 and she wanted this car. And man, how could I turn her down? She's been driving, a 2001 Honda Civic for the last 10 years, and now she wants, a Jeep Wrangler or whatever, a Mercedes. And man, how could I deny her? We got to the car lot, and then by the time she the $100,000 car is what we went there to get. But by the time we left, she had me talked into the $150,000 deluxe model and blah, blah, blah. My point is, guys, what you don't understand The reason that you let these things happen is because your identity. If you don't believe you belong, it's called imposter syndrome, and it happens a lot to people as they become successful. You know, you're looking at your friends and your family that are still struggling, that are having trouble with money, that never listen to you about crypto, and you feel bad because you're a good person and you love them. But there's almost a part of you that feels guilty that you have accumulated this wealth. And when you're around those people, they make you feel bad because you're going to have to say no to them sometimes. You're going to have family members that expect you, now that you've made this money, to spend it on them. And you probably will spend some of it on them. It's hard to say no, especially when you want to do nice things. So the first time they ask, you're like, man, this is awesome. A couple of years ago, if they would have asked me, I wouldn't have been able to help them. But now, $5,000, I've got $500,000, $5,000, that's nothing. But guess what? Unfortunately, most of the time, that person that came and asked you for $5,000 doesn't have the ability to manage it properly. They're gonna squander it. It's gonna get wasted. It's gonna be gone, and they're gonna come back to you and they're gonna want another $5,000. And sometimes the pressure of telling people no is the catalyst that causes people subconsciously to go backwards. You're not sitting there with $500,000 and you think to yourself in a logical, unemotional manner, hey, if I just blow this $500,000 and I lose it so I don't have it anymore, it'll be so much easier to be able to tell my friends and family, sorry, the money's gone, guys. I don't have it anymore. I'd love to help you, but I can't. You don't logically sit there and think that, but I'm telling you, your subconscious mind gets tired of the uncomfortable conversations and the people that are coming to you with a hand, that want a handout. And that's part of the growing process in becoming wealthy. But I'm going to go back to this. Like, you have to become the person that can handle the money, or it will flee from you rapidly. And I spend 15 minutes on that, because if you don't get that in your head, if you don't get that part figured out, and if you don't get yourself to a high enough identity, a place where you really believe you are worth the $1 million, $5 million, $10 million. And even today on this video, like, I'm talking about $500,000, but I started this video off talking about 10 million, an 8-figure portfolio. And part of the reason that I talked about $500,000 is because I didn't want to lose some of you. There's some of you watching this that literally will just turn it off if I'm just going to stick to talking about $10 million, because you can't wrap your mind around $10 million. You know, maybe you think $100,000 would be amazing, or maybe you're really stretching and you think $1 million would be absolutely amazing. The reason I talk about $10 million, folks, is because our money is not worth what it used to be. I was listening to a gentleman earlier that was talking about a house that sold for, it was $1.4 million in 2019, and it just sold for $2.5 million not too long ago. And the question that he asked was, do you think that that house is worth over $1 million more 5 or 6 years later than it was in 2019? Or is it possible that that house sold for $2.5 million because our money is worth so much less? And that's a good thing to think about, guys. My point and his point is $1 million doesn't go anywhere near as far as it used to. Back when I was becoming an adult, back in 1991, when I turned 18 years old, $1 million was a lot of money. You could basically live the high life, do whatever you wanted to do if you had $1 million. Back then, if you were making $50,000 a year, you were doing pretty darn well in life. That was a high-paying job, $50,000 a year back in 1991. Now, guys, you got to be making 6 figures or more if you got a wife and any type of a family just to barely survive. Back then, $50,000 a year, you would have been living pretty, pretty well. You could have done a lot. You probably had $20,000 or $30,000 in expenses, and you'd have an extra $10,000, $20,000 that you could have enjoyed life with. So my point is, the reason I'm talking about 10 million is because, in my opinion, 10 million is the new million. In order to have the lifestyle that you want to have, the freedom that you're going to want to have, the ability to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, with who you want to do it with, you need to start dreaming bigger. You need to start having $10 million. So enough on that. But I do want to mention, so I talked a little bit about self-sabotage. And I just want to give you like another little parable here, that another story that kind of explains this. So imagine that you are a thermostat. So we all have homes, and for those of us that are lucky enough to have heat and air conditioning and stuff, we have a thermostat. So during the winter, let's say that we've got that thermostat set at 75 degrees. Maybe it's 30 degrees outside, but we've got our thermostat set at 70 degrees. Well, that keeps our house at 70, 75 degrees. So let's say that you're at a 75 in your financial life. In order to get to that 8-figure portfolio, you're going to have to, at least for a season, you're going to have to become 100 degreer in your walk for finances. You might even have to become 110, 120, 130 degreer in your finances. But ultimately what will happen, guys, the thermostat in your life will dictate where you are at. And once again, temporarily, you can outperform that thermostat. So my point here is, let's say that it's 75 degrees out, or it's 30 degrees out, but you've got the thermostat in your life, in your house, turned to 75. Your home's going to be 75 degrees. But what happens if all of a sudden you open the front door? Well, all of that cold air comes rushing in, and all of a sudden your house is, 45, 50 degrees. Now, what will happen at that point if you do that? If you got a good working thermostat, the thermostat will kick on. The thermostat will kick on, and it'll start pumping out hot air, and it'll bring you back up to 75 degrees. That's the thermostat. That's what it's designed to do. Well, on the flip side, guys, if you're a 75 degreer in your finances and all of a sudden you get on fire, you're focused, you're building your cryptocurrency portfolio, and all of a sudden you're 100, 125, 150 degreer. But if you don't have your identity raised up to that point, what will happen is the thermostat in your life, your identity, which is your thermostat, that thermostat will start to find ways to cool you off. And you will go back to that 75 degree temperature in your finances, because that's what you are used to. So we got to get your identity going. And the first thing that you can do, if you're taking notes, the number one thing that you can do if you're taking notes on this to raise your identity is to link your identity to your intentions, not your results. I'm going to take a quick sip of coffee. What do I mean by that, folks? Link your identity to your intentions, not to your results. Well, folks, it's simple. You want to link your identity to things that you have control over. So just like with cryptocurrency, maybe you had a goal to be a crypto millionaire by January 1st of 2025. And here it is, almost August of 2025, and you're not there yet. But you created a goal. You created something based on results rather than your intentions. So if your goal, your results were to have $1 million by January of 2025, then it would be very easy to feel bad about yourself and to put yourself down and to feel like you're not good enough and that it's never going to happen, and to be negative about the situation, when in reality, you didn't have any control over that. Back in 2021, January, February, March, April, May, those were amazing months in crypto. And so if you would have started investing in crypto back in, say, 2018, and you had a goal to be a millionaire by, May of 2021, crypto would have cooperated and you would have probably got that done. But this year, it's almost August. We haven't had an altcoin season yet. That's not your fault. But folks, if you have good intentions backed by the right actions, then you can always feel good about yourself and you can raise your identity, because you can tell your wife or your husband, your significant other, your children, you can say, hey, my intention is to become a crypto millionaire and change our financial future, our whole legacy and our family for the better. And this is how I'm going to do it. And you lay out your intention. Your intention is that you are going to save, 10% of your income and invest it. You're going to spend so many hours a week educating yourself. You have the intention to do these things. Now, folks, I will mention that the path to hell is paved with good intentions. So the other thing that you have to do, along with having good intentions and avoiding being results-orientated and being results-orientated, but you have to become a man or a woman that keeps the promises that you make to yourself. That is how you raise your identity. If you are consistently making promises to yourself that you don't keep, you are not going to have an identity and feel worthy of millions of dollars in the bank. You're just not. If you're not somebody that can say, hey, I'm going to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning tomorrow and I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to get on the treadmill for 30 days. If you are the type of person that routinely says stuff like that to yourself and doesn't follow through on it, that has to stop. That's the number one place that you need to start in order to raise your identity. So the two tactics here, we're starting to get into the tactics, folks. Number one, keep the promises that you make to yourself. I don't care. It's my birthday on the 30th. I haven't said this, and so I'm not making a commitment here. But if I were to tell you guys today, like let's just say, for instance, for an example, I said, hey guys, because I'm doing this weight loss challenge, on my birthday in 2 days, I am not going to have any sweets. That's it. I'm not going to eat any sweets on my birthday, because my goal of getting underneath 200 pounds by December 15th is more important to me than the few minutes of enjoyment of having a dessert on my birthday. If I were to now go out on my birthday dinner and I'm sitting there in the restaurant and all of a sudden they bring out the dessert tray, or worse yet, they find out it's my birthday, and so they bring out a piece of cake and ice cream for me, and I were to go eat that, you don't realize how destructive eating that piece of cake and ice cream would be. You might think to yourself, man, that's just a few extra 100 calories. You just got to do a little bit more of a little extra working out, Brad. You just work out a little extra for a couple of days. You'll wipe out those extra calories you had. And that's true. And if I would have told myself today, hey, I am going to eat a piece of cake and ice cream on my birthday, and so in order to counteract that, I'm going to eat a little bit less during the day on my birthday, and I'm going to work out extra hard on my birthday before I go out for my birthday dinner, and then I'm going to absolutely crush the gym the next day after my birthday to make up for that cake and ice cream. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, what you got to do there, though, now you got to fulfill what you said you were going to do at the gym. So it's a different type of fulfillment. So now, if that was my plan, if I don't eat a little bit less on my birthday and I don't have a good workout before dinner, and then on Thursday, I'm kind of, hungover from all of the food and the fun, and it's the day after my birthday and I decide to take the day off from the gym, then I just did it to myself again. So no matter what decision you are making, I'm not here to tell you. I don't even know myself yet what my decision is going to be. I'm thinking about that, though. All I'm here to tell you is whether you decide you're not going to eat any cake on Wednesday, or if I decide that I'm going to eat some cake, but I'm going to counteract it by doing this, this, and this. I better do this, this, and this, or I better not have any cake. Like, even if they bring me a cake and they set it right down in front of me, I better be man enough to blow out the candles. Come on, man. Do you really have to be right there messing with my camera? I better be man enough to blow out the candles and then give the cake to everybody else. And I'm telling you, you're going to have these decisions 10 times, 20 times, 50 times a day. Some of you already did something this morning that you said you weren't going to do, and you didn't keep the promise that you made to yourself. And I'm telling you, if you really want to break down the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people, it always begins with successful people keep the promises that they make to themselves. Because how in the world can you keep promises that you make to your husband or your wife or your children or the pastor at your church or anybody else if you can't keep the promises that you make to yourself? And it spills over, I promise you, because none of you just sat there yesterday all by yourselves and said, well, okay, I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. and go to the gym today. Guess what most of you did? You got people that love you and care about you. So you told your wife, you told your husband, you told your kids, man, brand new dad, man. Tomorrow's Monday. I'm starting a new habit. I'm tired of being overweight and out of shape. Or maybe it's financial. Starting tomorrow, dad's going to do this, this, and this. And we're going to work on this 8-figure crypto portfolio. And then not only do you not keep the promise to yourself, but because you yacked to everybody around yourself about all these big things you were going to do, they don't believe you anymore. You go tell your kids, hey, I'm going to lose weight and exercise, and I'm going to be under 200 pounds. I guarantee you, my family, they love me, but they're like, okay, I'll believe it when I see it. And that's my fault, not theirs. Like, sometimes I wish my family had more belief in me, but when it really comes down to it, I haven't earned that belief because I've told them 20 times over the last handful of years that I was going to finally take control of this weight and get under 100. Like I have a screen name that says Mr. 199. Like, I made a goal to be under 200 pounds 7 or 8 years ago, guys. So my family doesn't believe me anymore when I say that I'm going to be under 200 pounds. Now, I think they have a pretty high level of belief this time because I attached such a momentous, painful, miserable thing to this goal, where if I don't get under 200 pounds by December 15th, I have to go get a job at McDonald's for 6 months. And my family, my loved ones know how miserable that would be for me. I think they have some hope. They have some real belief that I'm going to do it this time. But my point is, some of you guys have not really, you probably don't even look at it like you're lying. You don't even call it a lie. Let's call it what it is. If you wake up and you tell your children, hey, dad's going to be healthier. I know I couldn't go play basketball with you this weekend, but dad's going to be healthier. And here in a few months, I'm going to have this weight gone and I'm going to be able to play basketball with you. I'm going to be able to be, your football coach. Like, maybe you got invited to be your kids' soccer coach or your football coach, and you turned it down because you're not in good enough shape to run all over the field and do what it would take to be his coach. And so he's disappointed, and you tell him, hey, I'm going to get this weight under control and I'm going to be your coach next year. And next year comes around and you didn't do it. You lied. Quit calling it something else. Quit watering it down. You told your family, that you were going to save and invest and you were going to create financial freedom. And then you got $10,000 or $15,000 together and you went and blew it on a boat because it's summertime and you work hard and you deserved it. So you went and bought a boat. And now you tell your family, hey, yeah, we're going to have to put off the financial freedom thing for a few years, but at least we got to go out on the boat this summer. We got to do some water skiing. You lied. And I'm telling you, I wasn't even going to talk about this. It's not in my notes, but quit watering it down. Dad meant to do this, but he didn't do it. It's not that big of a deal. No, it's a big deal. I don't care if you tell your wife you're going to take out the garbage and then you forget. That's a big deal. Yeah, it's insignificant in some ways, but it also, erodes your confidence in yourself. It erodes your confidence, it erodes your identity, and it also erodes your wife's confidence and her belief in you. Little things matter, guys. If you say you're going to take out the garbage, take it out. And for those of you that are like me, if I don't take the garbage out, I'll have great intentions. If I don't take the garbage out, like right then, I'm going to focus on a crypto trade for 15 minutes, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, and I'm going to get around to taking the garbage out. 2 hours later, my wife is like, hey, I thought you were going to take out that garbage. Oh, babe, I'm so sorry. And the sick thing, though, is that I'll do it again. Like, I'll literally say, hey, yeah, I'll take it out. And then a few minutes later, I'm back engrossed in whatever I'm doing. I forget. And like 11 o'clock at night, I see my wife walking past me with the big old garbage bag struggling. And she just said, hell with it. I'm going to do it myself. And you don't want to do that. So I'm talking to myself right now. Those little seemingly insignificant moments in your life are important. And that's the good news too. So for those of you that are like, man, how do I get on track and keep the promises to myself? Well, I'll tell you, start with something easy. You know, we talked last week or the week before about the habit is more important than the amount. Commit to something that you know you can do, that you know you can keep your promise, that's almost ridiculously easy. Because small wins build confidence. Small wins build confidence. When you're starting off on a new journey, you don't want to worry about, like, if you started off, like, I bench pressed 115 pounds. That was my max. It is what it is. Sometimes it's a little embarrassing. I'm fairly stocky. I'm relatively muscular. I'm stockier than the average person. The other day when I went to get my baseline, I could only bench 115 pounds. I almost got 130, but I couldn't quite get 130. So my goal is I want to get to 200 pounds, hopefully by the end of this challenge. I got 5 months to get to a 200-pound bench press, but I'm not focused on 200 pounds. The little win is just to show up every day in the gym and get a little bit better. So like we talked about last week or the week before, start off with one push-up. If you're overweight and out of shape and you haven't done any exercise for 5 or 10 years, don't start going to the gym. Don't go spend a bunch of money on the gym and kill yourself on the treadmill for 45 minutes. Just commit to doing one push-up. Just commit to going on a 5 or 10 or 15-minute walk. I'm telling you, if you go on a 5-minute walk every day for the next 10 days, that's going to build confidence, because 99% of you haven't done anything for your fitness for 10 days straight in decades. And those of you that have are probably fit. But if you're like me, if you're out of shape, you're overweight, or even if you're just out of shape, like I know lots of thin people that couldn't run a mile. If they were getting chased by a bear, they'd be dead in a few, 30 seconds, because after 30 seconds of running, they'd be totally gassed. So whether you're overweight or not doesn't really have anything to do with whether or not you're in shape. But I'm here to tell you, if you just go walk every single day, no matter rain, sleet, snow, heat, whatever, I guarantee you, once you've created the habit, you're going to start walking for 6 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Eventually, you're going to get to where you want to be. So brush your teeth in the morning. If you're one of those people that forgets to brush their teeth in the morning, sometimes you brush them, sometimes you don't. Just create a habit of hey, I'm going to brush my teeth every single day, and put a note on your window, put a note on your mirror to remind you. That's a win. You wake up in the morning and the first thing that you do, you see that Post-it note, and you go brush your teeth. That is a win. You just kept a promise that you made to yourself. You tell yourself, hey, when I go to McDonald's, I eat a lot of junk food. I like my fast food. I know I'm not going to go eat a salad tomorrow. I'm going to go to McDonald's tomorrow, but instead of ordering, 2 Big Macs and an order of chicken nuggets, I'm just going to order 1 Big Mac and the order of chicken nuggets. I'm telling you, small wins. I'm even literally I'm going to order both Big Macs and I'm going to order the chicken nuggets, but I'm not going to eat one of the chicken McNuggets. That seems insignificant. 2 Big Macs and a 10-piece chicken McNugget, and all you decide ahead of time is to not eat one of the chicken nuggets. But I'm here to tell you that by following through on that for the next day, week, month, all of a sudden you're going to go, you know what? I'm still eating these 2 Big Macs and all these nuggets, but I don't even notice the difference. I bet you I could eat 5 of the nuggets of the 10 and be good. So you go and you start ordering a 5-piece nugget instead of a 10-piece. I'm telling you, little minuscule, tiny changes work. I would much rather you be the guy that just saves 1 chicken McNugget out of your 10 than the guy that goes in and says, I'm gonna quit eating McDonald's altogether and I'm gonna go have a salad with grilled chicken on it, because it's too big of a change and you're gonna end up probably breaking the promise that you made to yourself, and there goes your identity. So back to some self-sabotage, or back to some strategic things. So we kind of got back onto, we came full circle. We talked about some strategies, but then we're right back to your identity. That's how important this is. Everything that we're talking about today hinges on you raising your identity and becoming a man or woman that keeps the promises that you make to yourself. But something else that I want to mention, a lot of people will self-sabotage their journey to financial freedom because they don't have a big enough why. If you don't know why you want to be financially free, it's going to be hard to have the discipline. So part of the strategy is you have to really figure out what your financial freedom number is. You need to know what it is. For some of you, you might live in a country where $25,000 is financial freedom. For others of you, you might live in the United States and you need $500,000. For others, you might live in the United States, but you have a high-paying income. And in order to feel financially free and able to walk away from your job or whatever you're doing, if you don't want to do it anymore, you might need $5 million. For somebody else that's like super baller, that's already making $1 million a year, like if you're a high-powered, surgeon that's making $1 million a year, but you got to work all the time and you're stressed out and you feel like you're going to die at 60 because of all of the stress in your life, but you got to replace $1 million a year income, you might need a $10 or $25 million portfolio. It's going to be different for everybody. My point is, I don't care what your number is, get your number down on paper. And then in general, you don't have to take this advice, but I would double it. So if you think 25,000 is your financial freedom number, make it 50. If you think it's $1 million, make it 2 million. If you think it's 5 million, make it 10 million, because it's probably going to take more for you to be financially free than you might think. But whatever your number is, you have to get locked in on that. And I want to give you an example. So let's say that you had $1 million goal and you've got $100,000 crypto portfolio. You're well on your way. Things are looking good. But all of a sudden you're driving, a 2004, Hyundai Sonata, and it breaks down on you and you're tired of it. And it's going to cost you a couple $1,000s to fix it. And you think to yourself that, it's not even barely worth a few $1,000s. And so all of a sudden you end up at a car dealership and you decide that you want to spend $50,000 on a car. You've been watching some Dave Ramsey. You don't want to be in debt. So you're going to just go spend $50,000 on a car. That's one of the ways that people self-sabotage themselves. You will talk yourself into believing, hey, I got to have a car. I got to be able to get back and forth to work, or I'm not going to be able to have my employment. If I can't have my employment and I can't have the paycheck, then I'm never going to get to $1 million. This car is super important. And you will talk yourself into believing that you worked hard, you deserve it, and you will go spend $50,000 on a car. I see it happen all the time where people spend a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years building up this nest egg, building up their financial freedom fund, all to blow it on something that seems important but really isn't. And so I want to give you this mindset. I want you to look at it like this. That money that if that that $1 million is your financial freedom number, I want it to be so important to you that nothing will stand in your way. And what do I mean by that? Well, I want to give you an example. Say that you are a parent and you have a young child. And of course, I mean, this is a story, this is made up. But let's just say that you're a parent and you have a young child, or maybe you don't have any children, but you've got parents that you absolutely love to death. And let's just say, once again, it's a made up story, so I can make it up however I want. Let's just say that you are told by a doctor that your child or your parent has a disease, has a life-threatening illness, and it is going to take their life in 5 years. You got some time. The good news is that it's slowly progressing. You've got some time. You got a 5-year window, and you need $1 million by the end of that 5 years. And if you have that $1 million, you will be able to pay for a procedure that has been proven 100% effective in order to cure this medical ailment and save your child or your parent's life. But it's $1 million, and there's no getting around it. You have to have $1 million cash. Well, let me ask you a question. If you got a 3-year-old son or daughter, somebody that you love with all of your heart, are you going to have $100,000 built up after a couple of years and be well on your way to that $1 million to save their life, and then get sidetracked and all of a sudden decide that you really need a new car? I don't think so. You would rather ride a skateboard to work if you had to make sure and ensure that you were going to have that $1 million. My point is, guys, you have to realize that creating this financial freedom in your life, it's got to be life or death. You got to make it important. It's got to be huge. It's got to be a big deal. It's got to be bigger than all of the distractions. Man, we haven't been on a vacation for 2 years. Man, that trip, that 15-day cruise, to Hawaii. Never been to Hawaii. That 15-day cruise to Hawaii looks amazing. And it's only, a couple $1,000, but I want to bring my mom and my dad. They've never been to Hawaii. And I got to bring, my wife and my kids. And all of a sudden, $25,000 for this cruise to Miami. And you think, I can afford it. I got $100,000 in crypto. It's not going to hurt to use up 25 grand of it. It's not going to hurt to go buy that boat and be able to have a fantastic summer. No, guys, you have to decide how important financial freedom is to you. Now, if financial freedom and being able to walk away from your job isn't a big deal to you, you don't care, then maybe you go spend the money on the boat. But I'm talking to people like me that have a bigger purpose. I just got back from a missions trip to Mexico where we spent 4 days down in Mexico, and we built a house for an incredible family, a husband and a wife with a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old that were living in a 1-room apartment with their parents and their sister and brother-in-law and other kids smushed into this one little teeny, tiny apartment. And this man, Carlos, you could see the love that he had for his children. And he works in construction, but he only makes like $125 a week in Mexico. And in order to qualify for this Homes for Hope program and to be able to get this house built, you have to own the land. You have to own the land. So he was managed to get things together and get a piece of land, but he's spending a significant amount of money on that land payment. And a lot of the people in the neighborhood, they literally were living with sheets of plywood, 4 sheets of plywood kind of tied together, and they use like a blue tarp as a roof, and they're living on dirt. and the heartstrings that got tugged on were just unbelievable. But my point is, guys, I don't want to be spending all of my time 40 or 50 hours a week barely getting by, just being able to exist, when there's people like Carlos and Myra and their beautiful children, Carlos Jr. and Deana. It was kind of cool that the girl, the 3-year-old daughter, her name is the same as my wife's, Deana. Man, I want to get financially free so that I can go build more houses, so that I can do more good. And those types of things, knowing that I want to go back and build another home for another family in October, it costs money. It ain't cheap. It's about $22,000 to build this home, which doesn't sound like very much money for those of us that are in a first world country. 22 grand for a home obviously doesn't sound like very much money. It's not a ton of money, but at the same time, it's also a significant amount of money, because you got to have the money to build the house. You have to be able to travel to Mexico, and then there's the place that you stay. And anyways, my point is, I've got a big why in my life. I've got a big reason that I want to create this financial freedom. And all I'm simply saying is, you're going to have to create those reasons in your life also, because the distractions are going to come. I don't know anybody, especially if you're not used to having money, and if you scrimp and you save and you get $10,000 into crypto, and the next thing you know, things are going well and it's $50,000, $100,000, almost impossible to not use that money for some of your regular life, unless you have a big goal and you know your financial freedom number, and you are not going to touch that money for anything, just like you wouldn't touch it if it was there to save one of your loved one's life. So that was number 2 here on my list, where it said plan. How much do you need? When do you want it by? Now, we did talk about results versus intentions. So I don't want you to be emotionally attached to the when, but I would like for you to have an idea of when you would like it by. And the reason for that, guys, is because when you have a time frame and you're focused on that, you're going to do more activity. It's similar, like if I gave myself 2 years to lose this 50 pounds, I could be pretty relaxed about it. Like, I don't even, like, what is that? So there's 12 months, a year. There's, 52 weeks in a year. 52 times 2 years is 104 weeks. That means, like, I'd have to lose less than half a pound. And let's face it, guys, I mean, half a pound, you could lose half a pound standing on your head. There wouldn't even be a challenge. Now, there's nothing wrong with having that goal. Like, if you were to lose 50 pounds over the course of 2 years, half a pound a week, that would be amazing. But my contention is that most people that set that goal, they would not lose half a pound a week for 2 years. They would not lose any weight the first year, and they would think, that's okay, I still got a whole year to lose my 50 pounds. That's still only, in 52 weeks, that's still only just under a pound a week. That is not that bad. Pretty easy still on most diets. In fact, most doctors recommend that you lose around a pound and a half a week. So really wouldn't be that hard to lose 50 pounds in a year, either. But guess what? Most people, they would still not have lost any weight until 3, 4, 5 months ahead of time, and then they would go crazy. So I compress the time frames because I want to give myself a focus. If you're saving $250 a month, but your goal is to be a millionaire in 6 months, you might need to save $1,000 a month. And that might be uncomfortable, but I want you to think, hey, I've only got $250 a month right now. How could I have 1,000? I think trying to create $1 million by the end of this year with $250 a month, I'm fooling myself. That's crazy. Lightning would have to strike. I would have to hit a couple of 1,000 Xers to have any type of a chance of doing that. So when you come up with your number and you come up with a date that you would really like, it's okay to be a little unreasonable as long as you're willing to stretch and to ask yourself, how can I become a millionaire in 6 months? So if your goal originally was, how can I become a millionaire? And you decided that you want to be a millionaire by 2030, while I think that that's very, very possible, I would challenge you to compress that time frame and ask yourself, how can I be a millionaire in 6 months? Because when you ask those kinds of questions, you're going to come up with new ideas. Now, I do want to preface it, though, that you're not going to base your identity, your self-worth on whether or not you get there in 6 months. Your intention to get there in 6 months and the work that you do. If you stretch out and you get to $1,000 a month that you're investing when you were only at 250, I don't care whether you get to the million or not in 6 months, man. You have earned the right to be massively, massively proud of yourself. And even if it looks like it's going to take longer than 6 months to hit your goal, you should be extremely excited about the man or woman that you are becoming and that the steps that you are taking. What else do I have here? So we talked about that, consistency. Consistency is something else that's very, very important. The turtle versus the hare story. You guys have all seen the turtle and the hare. They're in this race and the hare is out in front. There's no way the hare can lose, but the hare keeps getting distracted. The rabbit, the hare, he keeps getting distracted. So he'll stop on the side of the road and he'll take a 2 or 3 day break, enjoy some, leisure time, have some time at the resort, get himself a massage, where the turtle just plodding along, never stopping, just plodding along. The hare keeps getting distracted. The hare's not consistent. The hare will invest $250 one week, and then the hare will get busy spending money on other things that come up in life, taking vacations. And the next thing you know, it's been a month since the hare has put any money, where the turtle just 250, 250, 250, 250, 250, 250. The turtle's life is almost so boring that it doesn't even look like he's making progress. But inevitably, you've all seen the story, you've all seen the cartoon. The hare ends up falling asleep, and the turtle passes him up and crosses the finish line and wins the race in the story. And of course, it's a ridiculous story, but I'm telling you, it happens over and over and over in life, where the person that is the most talented and has the most skills and has, all of the advantages loses out time after time after time to the person that was just consistent, that just stayed with it, that didn't get distracted, that didn't lose focus. So be the tortoise, man. Be the turtle. Be consistent. And man, that's really, that's all I got. I'm not here to tell you the exact cryptos that you should invest in. We'll do a little bit more of that on the Tuesday Trader live stream tomorrow. We'll do a little bit more of that on the Wednesday Microcap Gem live stream. So, with that, hopefully that was helpful. I will tell you that some of the tokens that I am excited about, are like the Atom token. I've mentioned Atom, multiple times on this channel. One of the things that I love about Atom token is that you can get about 15% in a year in interest in APR. So if you've got 1,000 Atom token in a year, you're going to have 1,150. In 2 years, you're going to have over 1,300 with compound interest. It's 13 and change, and so on and so forth. So over the course of, 4 or 5 years of having your Atom staked and earning 15% in Atom, you could literally have twice as many Atom as you started with. And that's if you're not even buying any Atom tokens along the way. If you start consistently buying 5, 10, 20 Atom tokens here and there and adding them to your portfolio, that is a token that the compound interest will go a long ways towards helping you get to that 7 and 8 figure portfolio. And there's other tokens out there like that. I believe Atom is still sitting at under I'm kind of pulling this up off the screen, but I think it's still sitting at under $5. And to me, Adam, yeah, it's $4.78. Its previous all-time high, guys, was $44. Do I think that Adam is going to get back there during this bull market, this altcoin season? I think it's possible, but do I think it's going to get there by the next altcoin season? Yeah, absolutely. So not only are you earning, say, around a 10x or more on Adam if you accumulate it for the next handful of years, but you're also earning 10x or more on all of the interest. So if you're getting 15% a year in interest and Adam 10x's as we go along in time, you're actually earning 150%. What if Adam becomes a $100 token in 2030? Then you're owning, now you're getting 300%. Well, 300% is a lot of money on a $5 token. That's 130, 30 or, like a 30x. You're talking about you're turning every $5 into $150 over the course of, 26, 27, 28, 29, so maybe it's not even 2030, probably before the end, sometime in 2029. So man, imagine how many $5 bills would you have to turn into $150 bills in order to create financial freedom in your life? Probably not that many. So I'm not going to go over a lot of different tokens, but Adam is definitely one of those tokens because I love the fact that we can be earning 15% a year on our Adam tokens while we are waiting for, crypto to do what it is going to do. So I want to shift gears here real quick. For those of you that are still with me, I appreciate each and every one of you. I want to go up and just say hello. We got Mr. Banish here in the house. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you. Roger the Alien, man, God bless you. Hope you are still watching the show and still here, that I kept your attention for the whole hour. Mr. Tulsa King, hello. Hope you are doing great. Donnie T, Pit Bear. Hey, Pit Bear, hope you are doing great, buddy. Man, it's been a little bit since we've seen you. I hope you are doing fantastic. We got Mr. Daniel Prosper in the house. Good morning, my friend. God bless you. Hope you are doing good. Hey, Mr. Eric Bernstein, how you doing, my friend? I hope that you and the little ones had a fantastic summer. I'm guessing that it's probably almost time to be sending them back to school over the next couple of weeks or so. So hope they are doing fantastic. I hope you had a great time with your kids. And Miss Nay and Jonah, God bless you. Thank you for being here. Hey, Dave P, always here. I challenge you to go find a live stream where Dave P wasn't here. Dave, I know that you joined the Bible study. I'm looking forward. Don't forget, tomorrow night at 6 p.m., Dave, we're doing our men's group, our small group Bible study. I don't know if the link for that is in the description of this video yet or not, but I will get it put into the link in the description. It's also going to be in my Telegram groups. I'll probably post it onto Twitter. So for those of you that want to get around other, good men, you don't have to be a Christian man to be a part of this group. Just be a good man. Just be a man that has good intentions, that loves the people, their family, and that loves the people around them, and that just has a thirst to want to learn more. Maybe nobody's really ever, told you about God. Maybe you don't know if God is real or not, and you want to find out. Come join us in this Bible study. There's not going to be any pressure. There's no judgment. We're just there to love on each other and help each other through this crazy thing that we call life, because every single one of us is experiencing something, whether it's marital issues or financial issues or health issues or problems with children. Some of us, we have adult children that are struggling in life. And man, one of the things you'll find as a parent, if you don't have older kids, just because they become an adults and they grow up and they move out of your house, you don't quit worrying about them. In fact, in some ways, you worry about them more because you lost control. At least when they lived at your house, you had some feeling, at least, or, the illusion of a little bit of control. But now they're living out on their own and you have no control. There's, so many things that are going on in our lives. Maybe you've got, issues in your relationships with your siblings or with your parents, or just, man, life will come at you from 1,000 different ways. And so we are going to learn a little bit about scripture, but this is also going to be a safe place where, if you are having a challenge in life, you can ask for and get our prayer, man. Prayer is powerful. So we're going to be praying over each other and our problems and our challenges. It's going to be an amazing hour and a half from 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 7:30 p.m. So an hour and a half tomorrow night. Hope to see some of you on there. Mr. GTA, or I think I shouldn't call Mr. GTA. You could be a woman. I apologize if I misspoke there. GTA, thank you for being here. Mabel, I will use you to segue into the next topic. So because I was on this missions trip, the token that won, let's go. In fact, let's pull this up here real quick. Let's go to the Infinite Agape website and let me share my screen here real quick. We are going to share this beautiful website here. So this is the Infinite Agape website, and let's go ahead and click on this nominate or vote button. And we click on view here. So as you guys can see here, holy smokes, wow, look at that. So everybody must have known that Floki was going to win. Holy smokes, that is crazy. So we had Floki, we had WeFi, we had Mind AI, we had Metaplex, we had ACET, Asset Finance, and we had Script. And Floki crushed off the competition with 21 votes. Well, Mabel won a promotion where they actually get $100 worth of Infinite Agape tokens if they voted for the winning project. And so, folks, Mabel has $100 worth of Infinite Agape tokens that are going to be coming their way. And then all 21 of these voters are also going to get an airdrop of Infinite Agape tokens. So part of what I have to do today, I'm a little bit behind schedule, is I got to get in and do all of that. I got to get these tokens sent out, and then we're going to start the next round. So probably tonight at around 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, about 8 hours from now, we're going to have the next round going, and you guys are going to be able to start nominating projects again if you have $777 worth of tokens, or if you have $77 in tokens, you're going to be able to wait the 12-day waiting period and then be able to vote on the project that is going to win the next vote. But congratulations to all of you. The nominator of the Floki token is going to get $500 worth of the Infinite Agape token. And Mabel, you're going to get 100. And then I have to figure out the math and let everybody, I'll let everybody know here in a little bit how much in Infinite Agape tokens the voters are going to get for Floki being the winning token. But I wanted to let you know, I mentioned this in the Telegram group. So hopefully all of you are, have the ability to, get some tokens and be in a position to vote. I just noticed we've got a Mr. Greg Nowak is here. Hope you are doing great. Pit Bear. I never have worked in fast food. So I did work in some restaurants, but I have never worked in fast food. And, I haven't had a regular 9 to 5 since about 2019. And so that is why I created that as my punishment, is because getting a 9 to 5 period is not something that I want to do. and then having to get a job at McDonald's and work alongside, a bunch of teenagers and, be saying, hey, do you want fries with that, is definitely a motivating punishment that really causes me to look at every piece of food that's going into my mouth, every time that I am, deciding whether or not I want to exercise or how hard I want to exercise, that is going through my mind. Mr. Sky Crypto, thank you for being here. Well said. I'm not exactly sure what you meant by that or what I was talking about, but thank you for the kind words. And we have Mr. God will make everything better. Thank you for being here today. Greg Nowak, good morning. Hope you are doing fantastic. That is beautiful. You bought 2 ETH for your lovely daughter. That is amazing. I don't know how old your daughter is, but man, if it's going to be a few years before she is, 18 years old and ready to take off in life, that 2 ETH could be worth tens of thousands of dollars, maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars by the time your daughter is 18, depending on how old she is. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Hey, babe, this is my beautiful, beautiful wife. I love you, babe. You are my winner. Thank you so much, my love. I appreciate you so much. My wife was with me on this missions trip, and it really just amazingly touched our hearts. So that's something else I'm going to mention. On this missions trip, in order for it to happen, there was a lot of mission people. There were people there that don't get paid anything. In fact, a huge portion of the people there that were helping to build these houses and that were running the mission. So at this mission, it's like a villa where, it's like hotel rooms, and there's, they feed you every night. There's a front desk. They have people that are cleaning the rooms. There's a coffee shop. Like in 99% of the people that work at this compound are all doing it for free. They're cooking the food for free. They're doing everything that they do for free. And most of these missions people are helping to build these houses for free. And I became incredible friends with a few of these missionaries. And so I want to reach out, and I would just like to ask you guys, if it's on your heart, I've got one gentleman, his name is Mora, and his rent is $280 a month. I know that seems very, very insignificant, but when you are depending on the generosity of other people, 100%, he doesn't have a job. This is all he does. And he lives off of the donations that people give him. And I guarantee you, this young man works harder than most people in life. So this isn't like, hey, I get to go spend, 6 days a week down on the beach loving life, and then on the 7th day, I do a little bit of work for the missions. No, this guy is 7 days a week doing work for the missions. So I would ask each and every one of you to maybe help me. I want to get his $280 for his next month's rent to him. And I'm going to be able to do that on like my debit card. But if any of you want to participate, I don't care if it's even just $1. $1 adds up and is meaningful to these folks. So guys, if you go to my website here, and right here it says join the mission, support Brad's vision. If you believe in the mission of helping people achieve financial freedom, better health, stronger relationships, and walking boldly in faith, you can be a part of it. Your support fuels the message and helps expand the impact to reach more people who need hope, truth, and transformation. I've got a Bitcoin wallet here, an XRP wallet, an Ethereum MetaMask, so you can literally send, anything on Ethereum, Avalanche, Polygon, Binance Smart Chain, any realistic token that you want there. And then I did, for you that live in the United States, I put in my Venmo here, Mr. 199LV. I was telling you about my goal to be under 200. That's my Cash App handle, Mr. $ Mr. 199LV, and my Venmo is at BradV7007. The same handle that I use on Telegram. if any of you are compelled and you want to donate $1, $5, $10, $100 to this gentleman and help him pay his rent for another month, I personally give you my guarantee that 100% of every dollar that you guys donate will go to this gentleman. In fact, I'll even make it better than that. Up to the first $200 in donations that come in, I will match it. So if you guys give Morrow $200, I'll give him $200. If we send him $400, not only does that cover his rent for the next month, but it gives him an extra $120 that he can use on food, clothing, all of these things that are making such an incredible impact on these families' lives. And so, guys, I just, once again, I don't want to make anybody feel badly if you don't have anything that you can give, or if it's just not on your heart and it's not, you're giving somewhere else. Great. I'm not here to like twist any arms or to make anybody feel bad. But if you got a little tug on your heartstring and you can imagine these kids, guys, we built this home, and these guys went from living on a dirt floor or living in a 1-bedroom apartment, sleeping on the floor in sleeping bags. Not only do we build the home, but we furnish it. And we gave the family $1,000 to go shopping. So I got to be a part of that shopping trip. My wife and I took the family along with a couple other people from the trip, and we drove them to like a big Walmart. They got a microwave. They got $1,000 worth of food. They got toys for the kids. And while they were doing that, back at the house, there was beds. So they came home to brand new beds for the parents, new sheets, new pillows. These people have maybe never slept. These kids maybe have never slept. 5 years old and 3 years old, and they've maybe never slept on a bed their whole life. They got to come home, and in the kids' bedroom, there was bunk beds, and there was toys everywhere. These are kids that don't know what toys are, that just don't understand, but they were so happy. They were so joyous. This is a home that doesn't have air conditioning, but they still happy. And because they're used to no air conditioning, it's not as bad as like when my air conditioning goes out, I feel like I'm like the sky is falling. In fact, that's one of the things that I learned this weekend is some of the little crap that I complain about at my house, some of the things that I wish I had a little bit better. It put it in a perspective where my heart, like even my coffee. Yeah, I went and got my coffee today, but I'm like, man, how am I going to help these missions people? And I thought, you know what, Brad, if you can go spend $5 on a cup of coffee, you can give $5 to one of the people from this missions. You can help these people. $5 a day is $150 a month. That's life-changing money. So I'll shut up. But this money does not go to me. Do me a favor. If you do send me anything on Cash App or Venmo, or especially if you send something in one of these wallets, I'm not checking these wallets every single day. So please let me know in a DM, tag me in a Telegram group and tell me to check my DM, and let me know that you sent $1 or $5 or $10 or $100, whatever you sent. Let me know that you sent it so that I can get it converted into cash. And once again, up to the first $200 worth of donations, I will match that and do $200 myself. And then I'm going to probably get some profiles. There's 4 or 5 of these people that are in Mexico full time, helping build these houses and helping these incredible families transform their lives, that I want to support on a monthly basis. And so I'm going to get some pictures and some bios so that you can look at these people and their life. And, maybe you are single and you want to support a young single person. Maybe you have young children, so you like the idea of supporting somebody that has a couple of young kids. Whatever it is that is on your heart, I want to give you guys a little bit more information and give you guys a little bit more of an idea of exactly who your money is going to so that you can feel good about it. And I guarantee you, these folks are going to be so appreciative. They're going to send back letters. I'm going to invite them to come into the Telegram group and share some of their testimony. I'm going to invite them to come onto our Bible study and share some of their incredible testimonies. So once again, if you have it on your heart to share anything with these people, I can't do it all myself. I'm working on it. One of the things that I realized on this trip is that I need to work harder. I need to be more financially successful, and I need to put myself in a position where I can give more than I am giving right now. I've got so many people on my heart, though, that if I were to give $100, $200 to these people every single month, I mean, I'd be homeless. So part of my goal is to make more money. But I thought to myself, how can I help these people and how can I help them now? And that's why I'm talking to you. I figured those of you that have been here for an hour, hour and a half listening to me, you're my ride or dies. You are the people that see my heart and that are similar minded, that have big hearts, that love people. I don't believe that you would be here still listening to me if you didn't have a heart and care about other people. So I hope that a few of you will step up and share a little bit of the abundance that you've had in your life with Morrow to start with, and we'll go from there. But with that, guys, I love each and every one of you. Man, I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. And we will see you again tomorrow. So God, that's a good question. So one of the things that I have to be careful about is we can't just be giving out thousands of dollars in agape. That's not good for the price. And, so the one thing that this tells me when I look at this is I appreciate the gamified aspect, but the fact that we got 21 votes for one token and none for another. I love Crypto Bullseye. I love Keith. I'm glad that he won again for the second week in a row. But the fact of the matter is probably 5, 6, 7 votes should have been what won. So I'm not in a position to give out over $1,000 worth of agape tokens. And who knows, next week, it could be 25 people that vote for the same token. So I'm not sure exactly how much the amount is going to be, but I know that it's going to be significant compared to the $77 that people have spent on getting, the agape token. But I do have to be a little careful about that. I'm going to talk to my team. One of the things that we have to do is we're constantly re-strategizing, making more moves. We know that the whole goal of this prize pool was to be paid out in USDT. It was supposed to be paid out in Floki tokens. We were going to go buy Floki tokens, and then we're going to airdrop those out to the people. But as you can see here, we've got $68 built up in the rewards pool. So that means that I would be sending each of you about $3, $2.50 worth of Floki tokens. So that obviously isn't something that I want to do. Part of my challenge as a CEO and the founder of this project is I am working on building, new holders, working on building this project. In fact, I noticed I didn't get a chance to say anything. I don't know if he's still here, but we've got a gentleman. That reminds me, I don't know if the video is out. Where is it? Where did you go? Aha for Truth. Where are you? I saw your screen name here. Yeah, Ah for Truth. So this gentleman right here is a cryptocurrency YouTuber. In fact, let me see while we're talking about this, if he was supposed to send me the link to a video that he was going to be putting. Oh man, I think I missed it. Let me see here. Get down here. Okay, so we have a new video. Interviews cryptocurrency founder Brad Varnell. So that's one of the things, with this travel. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but For Truth and I recorded a video. That link right there, I'm going to be putting that into the comments here. Give me a quick second. So we've got another gentleman here that loves what we are doing at the Infinite Agape token. And he and I had an incredible interview. And so one of the things that I would really appreciate from each and every one of you is to please go watch this video and make a comment on it. I didn't tell Offer Truth this yet, but we are going to be giving away, some Infinite Agape tokens to those of you that go watch this video, like his channel, subscribe to his channel, and comment on his video, letting him know that you appreciate the love that he's giving the Infinite Agape project, the Infinite Agape token. And guys, this is important. One holder at a time, we will hit the tipping point. There will come a time when this token absolutely explodes and you are well rewarded for your faith and for sticking with the project and being a part of this cryptocurrency project. So I thank each and every one of you that have been a part of it. And so I definitely appreciate your guys' patience. I know that it's been a little bit slow going up to this point, but having new YouTubers like Offer Truth, and I believe he's around 8,000 subscribers, so similar to Crypto Bullseye, we're going to help him get to 10. So please go watch this video. And once again, we're going to give away probably $100 worth of Agape tokens to a few random people that go watch this video and that comment on it, and go subscribe to Offer Truth's YouTube channel. I'm kind of curious here. I want to pull this back up. I want to see exactly how many subscribers he's at right now so that I can see how much love his video gets here. So it looks like he's actually at almost 9,000. He's at 8,920. It looks like 8,920 subscribers. There's no reason that 80 of us can't go subscribe for his channel. Watch this video and subscribe to his channel. Let's get him up to $9,300 so that we can give this gentleman, the appreciation. I know that he's going to also be coming into the Telegram group. He's going to be purchasing tokens, and similar to Crypto Bullseye, he's then going to be telling his community about us, and his community is going to start buying tokens. And I'm telling you, it's just a chain reaction. It's just a matter of time until all of a sudden this token explodes. One of the cool things about this mission trip was that I was able to meet a lot of incredible people and talk to them about Infinite Agape, talk to them about the mission behind Infinite Agape. And one of the things that I want to do with the money that is coming into Infinite Agape is I want to be able to nominate this Homes for Hope. I want to be able to nominate this YWAM, which is youth missionary something or other. It's a youth missionary group where there's a lot of teenagers that are dedicating their life to the mission of this project. So we got lots of ways through the Infinite Agape project that we can raise hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars for some of these groups. So, it's just my opinion that God is going to bless this project. It's not in my timing. And I understand it's not in your timing either. If I had it my way, this token would already be, 5 cent, 10 cent token. It would have already 100x, 500x. And I know that hasn't happened yet, but folks, I believe with all my heart, it's coming. It's just a matter of time. Like, we're attracting some bigger people. I got some people that are sitting there that are looking at the Infinite Agape token that support these other charities, people that give these charities thousands of dollars a month. And so when they have an opportunity, when they give these charities thousands of dollars a month, they're just giving. They just do it to give. And that's awesome. But they understand that with the Infinite Agape token, that if they come in and they're buying thousands of dollars worth of the Infinite Agape token, and they're nominating the charity, and they're telling people about the project, and those people are coming in and buying Infinite Agape tokens, they realize that not only do they have the ability to give thousands of dollars to charity, but they also have the potential to make thousands of dollars potentially on their investment that they can then give back to charity. So a lot of these people, if they buy $10,000 worth of Agape tokens and they turn it into $100,000, most of that $100,000 is going to go back into charities and back into good things. And they love the idea that they can do good, but that they can also increase their own net worth, which, that's a beautiful thing. Like, I love just giving to give. But at the same time, it's kind of cool to be able to give and receive at the same time. And so every one of you that has bought Infinite Agape tokens, you are part of this mission, and you're doing good with your finances. Even if the token fluctuates and it goes up and down a little bit, I wouldn't worry too much about the short-term fluctuation. What's going to happen over the next 3 to 6 months, the year to 5 years, is going to be absolutely massive, because once again, we will hit a tipping point. I don't want to talk for too long, but like this Homes for Hope, it started back in the 1990s. The guy that founded it, he went and built one house. And while he was building the house, his 3.5-year-old daughter was there playing with the kids in the neighborhood. And there was this family that was living in an abandoned bus. And they got done building this other family a home. And when they were getting ready to leave, his daughter ran up and tugged on his jeans and said, "Daddy, are we going to build a house for this family too?" And that hit him, it hit him hard. That hit him. He realized that one house that he built was amazing, but how does he build this family a house? And so he went back home and he got with his church and he raised enough money and he went back and he built that family a home. But then he realized that there's thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people that need the Homes for Hope. And so he created this nonprofit, and every year they build more houses. Now they're up to over 1,000 homes a year in I forget how many countries, but they literally started off building, like they built 7 houses the first year. Then they built 25 houses. Then they built 100 houses. And in my mind, the Infinite Agape token is like that. We're going to have massive, massive impact. Then they got featured on CNN. There was new news articles written about them. Well, nobody's writing about the Infinite Agape token yet. But guess what? As this builds up and we give $5,000 to Homes for Hope or $5,000 to the charity of your choice and it gets voted for, as this money builds up and we start doing good, we're going to catch people's attention. And all of a sudden, we're going to have news articles being written about us. They've raised over $100 million. Imagine if we had $100 million in buys come in on the Infinite Agape token over the next handful of years. What would our market cap be with $100 million worth of tokens bought? It would be absolutely massive. And those of you that had tokens right now would become millionaires from just the Infinite Agape tokens that you have purchased. So with that, guys, I love you. Please, please, please go get here and join. Here's the link. I'm going to make sure that this is in all of the Telegram groups that we tweet about it. But please go watch Off for Truth. Incredible Christian man. That's part of the reason we connected, and he loved our mission. Incredible Christian man, and definitely oh, wait a minute. It says 2 waiting today. So it premieres. Oh, I guess I thought he was going to post it. Yesterday. So let me go back here. So this is important, guys. Go here and subscribe to his channel. I thought I already had. Oh, I see. Never mind. I am subscribed, but it went to a different link because I didn't do it. But anyway, subscribe to his channel and then hit here. Sorry guys, let me do this here real quick. Copy this. Let me go up here to my Chrome browser and paste this in. All right, there we go. So I'm already, no, why? I cannot believe that I hadn't subscribed. So now I'm subscribed. There's another subscriber. I get all of his notifications. But when is this? So it's 6 hours. So this is going to premiere in 6 hours at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tonight. So 6 hours from now, this is going to go live. So go ahead and hit that notification button. Be ready to watch this in 6 hours, but you can already go and start making comments on this video now. Go, I noticed that Vanish here says, love from the Agape family. God bless you. Continue to go and subscribe and make comments on this video even before it goes live. But we had an incredible interview. How long did this thing end up taking? I'm trying to see if it shows how long it was. It doesn't show how long it is. I think it was about 45 minutes or so, but I think you're really going to enjoy this interview. And so with that, guys, I love each and every one of you. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning on the Trader Tuesday live stream. We are going to have Crypto Bullseye back on the channel, and so looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow on the Trader Tuesday. And like I say, I'm looking forward to seeing which one of you steps up and is generous and helps me pay Morrow's rent for next month. There is no amount that is too small. I'm telling you, $1 is significant in the long run, especially when I'm matching it. So if you've got $5, $10 in crypto or Cash App or Venmo, whatever you can do, man, I promise you it's going to come back to you tenfold. You cannot outgive God, folks. I believe that. That's one of the philosophies that I live by. And I think that I'm a testament to that. I'm a living proof that my life is as amazing as it is because God has put it on my heart to help you guys, through this YouTube channel, through the Infinite Agape token. I've given away thousands of dollars worth of Agape tokens, and I'm doing, for ministry and this and that. And I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm just simply saying that I've had times in my life where I was greedy, where I tried to hold on to my money with a tight fist, and it still ended up getting squandered. It still ended up disappearing. And I've had times in my life where I've given freely, and it seems like the more I give, the more things come back to me. And I don't want you to give just because you think, oh, okay, well, if I give $5 to this missions, then I'm going to get back 50. Brad said I'm going to get tenfold back. You might not always get tenfold back monetarily, but you could get tenfold back in your health. God can bless you in many, many ways. You could have somebody that you've been praying for in your family that has an illness, and all of a sudden it starts getting better, and you don't even realize that it's your generosity, the giving that you're doing, that is causing your significant other or that family member to get better. I don't know how God is going to bless you, but I promise you he's going to bless you. It talks about it in the Bible. It's an incontrovertible truth that you cannot outgive God. So with that, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you got some value out of it. I hope that this helped put you on the path to a 8-figure portfolio. And I look forward to seeing each and every one of you tomorrow. I love you. God bless you all, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye for now.